Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Farm Report, guys. Today I have Aaron and Nick with me. I know it's been a couple weeks, couldn't get schedule synced, but we're here today. And before we begin, as always, I want to give a big thanks to all the channel members for the contributions to helping keep the lights on, and those that share the content, all the subscribers. We did just break 4,000, so thank you for that. And let's get into it. So let's get right into the topics of this episode, which are the players of the week. We want to talk about the state of the farm system and what comes next. Moving right into Tampa, you had Kyle West, who unfortunately just went on the IL. He did hit 400 with a 938 OPS, an extra base hit, three RBIs. One of the draft kids showing an immediate impact. Richie Bonamalo hit 333, 500 on base percentage, 1,000 OPS, an extra base hit, two stolen bases. You had Marshall Toole, who for me was the player of the week down there. He hit 333 with a 1033 OPS. That's two extra base hits, a home run, seven RBIs, four walks, six stolen bases. You had Adiel Rivera, who was promoted from the FCL team. He did hit 313, 796 OPS, an extra base hit, three RBIs. Roderick Arias hit 308, 879 OPS, three extra base hit, a home run, four RBIs. He looks like he's getting hot. He's having a really good August so far. He's hitting 274 with a 751 OPS, six extra base hits, a home run, and nine RBIs. I want to say he's rolling a bit. He's coming off of what July, where he was was this season's high of 213. I know it's not great, but it is trending in the right direction for him. And then you had Dax Kilby, who hit 267 with a 686 OPS, an extra base hit, two RBIs, two walks, and two stolen bases. Moving on to the pitch. Actually, you know what? Let's get into the hitters first. Comments on the first guys?
Yeah, I just want to start, obviously this was the first week or a little, first full week we've had of the 2025 draftees.
Hmm.
Um, and I think specifically just focusing on Dax Kilby first, because he's, it's not, I don't think it's insulting to say he's the main prize from this
Right.
draft class. In 6 games, and obviously extremely small sample warning, he had 96.2% zone contact, 100% out of zone contact, 13.5% chase rate. He put a 90th percentile, 108.3 mile per hour, 90th percentile exit velocity. He's already exhibiting, the strong eye that we were told about, coming out of high school. He's exhibiting great ability to make contact, and he's already showing he can produce, high exit velocities. And, he's still this 18-year-old, 6'2", 190 kid. Um, it's a great start. I know like I don't think the WRC plus was anything crazy. He hasn't gotten the hits yet, but just from the pure outlook of how he's approaching the game, that's exactly what you want to see from that type of player. So, I just loved those early signs we're seeing, and I hope, in these last couple weeks of the season, he can get some, real results to that stat line.
Yeah, I mean, when I initially saw him and I've seen him, he kind of reminds me in profile of a little bit of Trey Sweeney. Um, but one thing that I did see, it was a quote from him attributed to shout out to Ryan Garcia. That Dax said basically said that he hates striking out. And I
Mhm.
love that he said that. I love that he said that because a lot of you see a lot of times where people keep just say strikeouts don't matter, strikeouts don't matter. And I hate that. I hate that. Put the ball in play, make things happen, I say.
Yeah, I think you couldn't have hit it like more on the head with that situation, man. That he's only had what, two strikeouts and 20 something
I think
at bats
one.
already. Yeah, even better. So two walks, one strikeout, something crazy.
Mhm.
So that
And
tells me he
over
has he has a two strike approach, an actual two strike approach.
yeah, he's unreal. That's the difference I think between him and Trey Sweeney is that Trey Sweeney still would strike out a little bit. That
Mm.
guy just doesn't strike out at all. Another guy talking about, man, that I think is, coming up and looking good was Lalane too.
Mm.
Starting his mend of coming back. I'd like to see them push him and be a little aggressive and hopefully get over that 50 pitch mark because I think that's where he's kind of settled for right now. Him and Facundo, I'd like to see them both go up. And
Yeah.
hopefully next
I,
like week.
Before we move on to the pitches, just want to mention one more thing about Dax Kibbe was the exit velo. I think you wrote it. Was it you that wrote
yeah.
about it?
No, I think it was Ryan Garcia. Yeah. I haven't written about Kilby yet.
Oh, I think that the exit velo was around 108, if I'm not mistaken, so
Yeah,
far.
yeah. So it's a max of
Yeah.
108.9 and a 90th percentile of 108.3. So yeah, it's he hits the ball hard, which is a very good sign. Um,
Uh, I mean, everything looks good so far.
yeah.
I can't wait to see more of him. I thought we were gonna get to see him today. They got rained out. I think they're playing
Mm.
two tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So excited about that. Moving on to the pitching side of things, you have Jose Rodriguez, who I'm a big fan of. He had a great time at the FCL last season. He pitched five shutout innings, 5 and 2/3 shutout innings, gives us 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. As I mentioned before, at the FCL, he was one of the best pitchers there. He pitched to a 2.25 ERA over 55 innings of work, 45 strikeouts, 143 average against. In the month of August, he's had in two of his three starts, he's only allowed one earned run. You also had Sean Herman, who pitched 4 1/3 innings, 1 run allowed, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Franier Herrera, who I'm really happy to see got the promotion, 4 1/3 shutout innings, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Chris Veach, 4 1/3, 2 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts. Mariano Salaman, 2.45 ERA, 3 and 2/3 inning, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. And Henry Delane pitched 3 innings, 1 run, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. And I did want to mention in regards to Lalane, it's good to see the velo ticking upward. That's a good sign for him. Maybe we'll get to see him at Hudson Valley. Depends on how hard the Yankees push him.
Yeah, Ellie Ben Porat, he's a writer for Baseball America, and he does, the StatCast data cards and writes a weekly article about that. And I was joking with him about, he was talking about wanting to do Trey Gibson and Peyton Tolley, and I said, "Well, do a Yankee," and he said he'll do Lalane at some point. Um, I definitely am curious about where the fastball velocity is and how it continues to get back up because, when he was healthy, it was 97, 98. And so obviously right now it's been around 94, 95, which isn't a bad place to be, but if he can get it back up to the upper 90s, we can really start, hoping to see him become the pitcher he was looking, like he was going to be, top of the rotation potential arm.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's good to see him back healthy. Sounds like he's probably going to go to Arizona if he stays healthy. Um, so I definitely do hope that he stays healthy, and I would love to kind of see some of that data that Ellie has on him that it isn't the easiest to get a hold of because of Tampa playing in the back park and not playing in their usual stadium with the normal stat cast.
Mhm. Mm.
And another pitcher that you didn't mention, Alan Facundo.
Mm.
He's just continue. I ranked him 19th in my top 30 prospects. He's a guy who just he's coming back with more fastball velocity after the Tommy John.
Mm.
That's caught my eye, and that's really raises my attention that I think he could be a pretty legitimate MLB pitcher. I don't know if it's going to be out of the bullpen or as a starter yet. But it's really good to see him cruising in low A, and I don't see why they wouldn't give him a couple starts in Hudson Valley to
Yeah.
end the season and see what
I
he has.
I thought he would have got a promotion. Due to the fact that he's repeating Tampa. So I don't know how many innings. Well, last year he went
It was
down. That
only
was in
30. It was
July.
only 30 innings last
Yeah.
year. So like it's I mean I don't really consider it repeating. I think it's more of just making sure that everything's coming back. But I agree. Like let's see what he give him a couple
Yeah.
starts in
Want to see how real
Hudson
it is.
Valley. Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on to Hudson Valley, you had Juan Matheus, even though they pronounce it Matthews, 304 with 385 on base percentage, 812 OPS, 3 extra base hits, an RBI, 3 hits, a stolen base. You have Dylan Lewis, who just keeps mashing down there, 273, 930 OPS, 4 extra base hits, a home run, 5 RBIs, 4 walks. And Tyler Wilson hit 267 with 620 OPS, 3 RBIs, and 2 walks. Matthias I've liked Matthias since his days in the DSL. I know he doesn't have that home run power, but to me, he just projects like a second baseman and a guy who just gets on base. He's constantly hitting the ball into the gap. I don't know how many doubles he's at now, but I think he's got to be approaching 30 on the season, if I'm not mistaken. I know he's got a lot of doubles. I mean, at one point I looked up and he was leading the FSL in doubles. Um, but I mean, I like the kid, man.
28, yeah, 28 doubles in the season. Yeah. Yeah, I actually wrote about him today. I just kind of wrote an article about a couple prospects, I didn't give probably enough attention to for one reason or
I
another.
didn't get a shout
I
out on the
think
article
you didn't
because I asked you about the underrated guy.
you it kind no, no, I think we were talking about different. These are guys who I just probably didn't give enough attention
Okay.
to. And I think Matthias was kind of the guy who prompted me to want to write this because I just thought of him as this guy, this small guy who doesn't really hit for any power.
Mm,
And whatever. I'd rather focus on Dylan Lewis and Marshall Toole and Edwin Perez when he was here, and even though he didn't hit for power, but anyways, when he got that promotion to Hudson Valley, I started looking into him a bit more, and he has some really nice exit velocities for a small guy. And he has some really nice speed, and looks like he can defend pretty well. Not being able to play shortstop, you would like to have him hit for more true power. But I think there could be a little bit more home run power to go in there with a lot of doubles, like you were alluding
mm,
to. So he's definitely an interesting player and a guy who, if he can find a little bit more home run power, I would have no qualms putting my top 30.
mm. Nick?
Yeah, I mean, my only issue with him is where does he play and where is he ranked within the organization? I mean, especially as shortstop or second, because I know you were saying that he believed that Roderick was going up earlier to high A ball, and it was going to be his job to play shortstop full time. And now he's already surpassed Roderick now going up to Hudson Valley. Where is he going to play?
Mhm.
I think that's the $1 million question, especially with Ken up there now. You got Lovich is going to start coming up. You got Dax Kilby. I still think Roderick is now playing better, hitting at least over 200 finally on the season. Um, so there's still people that I think that he's going to have to look at, and with the lack of power, does that stagnate him?
I mean, I know power is the name of the game nowadays, but you still need table setters. You still need table setters, and to me, that's the mold that he fits. Is just a guy that gets on base. He's hitting the ball into the gaps. Granted, he doesn't have the home run power, but he's got almost 30 doubles on the season.
I
He's
mean,
got a lot of speed.
I would argue against that though. I think he does have home run power. He has,
It could be
almost
a
110 mile per hour max exit velocity, and he has a above average 90th percentile. Like he can hit the ball hard. I just think it's and like I don't need you kind of hit it like I don't need him to be a 20 home run
yeah.
middle infielder. Like if he
Right.
can be like he could be a 10 to 15 middle home run bat with the good speed and good defense. And does have a pretty good eye and pretty good pretty well above average contact ability. I think there's a potential as a utility infielder. But it's like I said, it's hard to find a more than bench utility role for a guy who, isn't going to hit a lot of home runs. I think we've kind of seen that with Oswaldo Cabrera the last couple of years, where it's just, when he's been starting, it's not really been good enough just because he isn't hitting for enough power. Um, so yeah, it's definitely an interesting guy to follow, though. Like I said, it's like there's something to watch and monitor, and he is a legitimate prospect in the sense that like I do see what could make him an MLB player. It's
Mhm.
just, yeah, will he fully tap into that?
Yeah.
But
I mean, with
getting the Hudson Valley is a good test.
with a little bit more
He's doing all right so far.
with a little more loft in the swing, you could maybe get into that 10 to
Yeah,
12 area.
yeah.
Oh, and
Um,
I want to talk about one guy before we jump in.
as
Did
long as
you
it's not a
see
pitcher.
did you see where Alexander Vargas just went to, the Reds? That was
Yeah.
Yeah.
his original team he was going to sign with before he signed with the Yankees. So just wanted to throw that little tidbit out there, man.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. I definitely wish him well, man. That's a good
Hmm.
dude, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah, that's the hard part about the sport, especially when you start following prospects as
Hmm.
deep as all of us do. And it's part of the business. But yeah, it's hopefully he can get things going there and
Yeah,
make it to the
hopefully
MLB.
they can unlock the bat and get
Yeah.
consistency out of him. And I thought it was pretty much what he needed. And it's funny because remember we were having that conversation, and I was like, I kind of feel like I'm talking about Volpe here, but Anyways, moving on to the pitching side of things, you have Xavier Rivas. He pitched to a 1.29 ERA, 7 innings of work, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, a dozen strikeouts. Amazing game from Rivas. You had Kyle Carr. He pitched to a 1.50 ERA. That's 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Brandon Decker pitched 6 shutout innings, gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And by the way, he's pitching a great game tonight as well. Then you have Andrew Landry, who pitched to a 1.59 ERA. That's 5 and 2/3 innings of work, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts, and Cade Smith, who had his best game of the season, 5 shutout innings, 1 run, 1 hit, no walks, 5 strikeouts.
Cade Smith. Oh my goodness, man. That guy was straight up dynamite in his last start.
Yeah, he was
You know,
on.
he's another one that intrigues me, man. The Yankees had to like him a lot to not add him in any of these deals in the deadline because I feel like for him, I mean, he's a guy that really was. I feel like it was just a control orientation for him, man, going into that next level. Because at A ball, he was good. High got smacked
Mhm.
around a little bit last year, and this year he's looked a lot better. I did just see also on top of another guy, Bryce Cunningham just came off the IL. So I don't know
Yeah.
when we plan on seeing him as well, but he's another
He
guy that
already
could
Yesterday.
see.
pitched.
He
Yeah,
pitched.
he
He pitched
not he pitched
Sunday.
last week.
Sunday, I
No, he
think.
didn't pitch Sunday, but he pitched
Sorry.
it might have been Sunday. He pitched last week though, but he
Yeah, it
only
was
went
on the
like an
over the
inning.
weekend.
Yeah, he had
It
like an
wasn't
inning
good.
and had 3 walks. Yeah, I mean it's tough when it's your first real game back. You didn't have any rehab
Yeah,
games.
it
But
was
he
just
is
good to see him
back,
on the
which is good
mound.
to see. Exactly. Yeah, you don't really count those stats. Like obviously they go towards the numbers we see on, Fangraphs or Baseball Reference
Yeah,
or
you just don't hold it
MLB, but
against him.
exactly. Um, but yeah, and you talked about Cade Smith and him being a guy with some nice stuff with control issues. I'm gonna take the other one, Xavier Rivas. What a performance the other day.
Hmm.
12 Ks in 7 innings, and the zone percentage wasn't great. It was getting a lot of chase, which is still a good thing to be able to do. But he was solid, but I wasn't loving it in high A or in low A when he was at Tampa. A 5.8 ERA, 4.97 FIP. A lot of walks, 14.4%. So I wasn't loving it, but his 2 starts in Hudson Valley have been pretty solid, especially that last one, which was outstanding. And I think with Cade Smith and Xavier Rivas, you're looking at 2 guys who have I would say likely MLB caliber stuff. It's just a matter of do they figure out enough the strike throwing and the zone throwing to make that as a starter or as a reliever. I'm not sure yet, but I would not mind seeing either of those guys in the back of the bullpen if it came to that.
I remember when Cade Smith was drafted, I think it was last year. He got a lot of comps to Will Warren.
2023, yeah.
Yeah, he got a lot of comps to Warren that they were expecting that kind of trajectory from him.
Yeah, I mean the injury definitely slowed him down a bit this year, and it's been a little bit of a process getting back to his best. But if the last start was any indication, hopefully we'll see a really strong finish to the year, and I'm sure he'll likely maybe be in summer to set the start next year. We'll see.
Hmm. Moving on to Somerset, you have Tyler Hardman who hit 333, 1177 OPS, 4 extra base hits, a home run, 3 RBIs. Kobe Morales hit 386, 661 OPS, and RBI, 2 walks. George Lombard hit 273, 771 OPS, 2 extra base hits, an RBI, and 4 walks. I don't know if you guys got to see that game where Lagrange was pitching. I think it was against Richmond. Did you guys see that?
I didn't.
there was a there was a moment in that game where Lagrange struck out some guy. I don't remember who it was, but he struck out the batter, and I think the batter was like staring down Lagrange, and Lombard's just like walked forward and was telling him to get off the field, to get back in the bench. Yeah, I thought it was hilarious. And I had to ask Lagrange. I was like, "Yo, what the hell was that?" And Lagrange was like, "I don't know. That dude was crazy." Um, Lombard told me that the guy was yelling something at Lagrange. I don't know. I didn't ask him exactly what it was, but I love that moment where Lombard was like stepping up for his picture.
Ball on leader, man. I feel like the Yankees don't have that right now. Especially not in the infield of somebody that's gonna go yell at you right now. Maybe Jazz Chisholm, but he's more yelling at you because you slid in the base the wrong way. But like, like, Like we don't really have that guy that I feel like is just gonna, run in there and start yelling at somebody and sticking up for that. And that's good to see. Excitement, somebody that wants to be there and be a leader and an opposite way of just, quiet leading by example instead of somebody that's just gonna be on the field, kind of like Derek Jeter. When things were good, he'd let you know things were good. When things were bad, he just let you know things were bad. So like, and that's kind of what I feel
Isn't
like the
that
Yankees are missing.
isn't that this dude now? What's his name? Jose Caballero.
But that's the leader now.
But he's the one. He's like the troll.
Yeah, yeah, he's the pest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's the guy that you hate when he's not on your team, but when he's on your team,
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
Moving on to the pitching side of things. You had Ben Hess,
Oh
10 and
boy.
2/3 inning. He pitched a 2.53 ERA, 6 hits, 5 walks, 11 strikeouts. Carlos Lagrange through 6 innings, 2 runs allowed, 4 hits, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Trent Seller, 6 innings, 2 runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. Brock Selvage had probably his best game of the season. 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts.
Yeah, I want to talk about my boy Ben Hess, Carlos's favorite pitcher.
Oh
Now,
my God.
at the end of the day, man, on the real man, Ben Hess is just a perfect example of a guy I did not want to trade at the deadline. I know we talked about this beforehand. Like in my opinion, the worst case scenario for that guy is he's an elite closer. Best case scenario is he's a big time 2 or 3 starter that strikes out people. He's got a great strikeout rate. The guy just knows how to pitch, man. He's a first round pick. Yankees just don't trade those guys normally first round picks that they usually pick until like the end of when they just feel like there was just too much, they exhausted it. But I'm a fan of Ben Hess, man. I see full on potential here, and you could really market that guy very well with that last name.
Yeah, those top arms in the farm system, they're all so tough to rank one above the other. Um, Hess is definitely, at one point, he was kind of the last of the five. Now he's kind of slid up, to four, which is unfair. It's just, it's because, ERC has looked so great. Schlitter obviously blew up this year, and LeGrand is just so nasty. But Hess, I do really like. I think what the biggest thing for me is since he came back from injury, we've just seen better throwing in the zone. And that's especially in Double A, strikeouts haven't been there as much, even though they're still at a good rate. But if you're throwing in the zone and getting soft contact, that works just as effectively as that's what you need to be a pitcher. You gotta just play to the situation at hand. If you're not going to be able to get this guy to strike out, and do soft contact, and there's multiple ways to go about it. And I think he's been showing that growth as a pitcher, not just a thrower. So yeah, no, I mean I agree. I think he has, three, maybe even two upside in a rotation. We'll see, but it's been a really good couple months since he returned from that injury.
Yeah, piggybacking off of what you said, when they were all healthy. I mean, it depends on the day of the week for who the
Yeah.
top five was. That it was that interchangeable, and you love to see that as a Yankee fan. You just have so many options. And for me, the pitching to me hasn't been this good in what since was it 23? I think when Hudson Valley had that nasty rotation, which was headed by Thorpe.
Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah,
think
Thorpe,
I think this is better.
Hampton. I think, oh, this is definitely better.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, I
it's
mean,
it's def-
obviously
it's longer. I mean, it's more deeper as well.
In my opinion, I'm gonna say this today, man, because I'm riding this train all the way up there. The best pitching prospect the Yankees have right now is ERC. It's not even close. The guy doesn't give up home runs. He doesn't. If he bends, he doesn't break. His stuff is just elite level, and he literally went pound toe to toe,
Hmm.
stood on 10 toes against, in my opinion, one of the top 2 or 3 best pitching prospects in all of baseball, and beat him twice. And Tong for the Mets. So he went 10 toes down, man, and just said, "Yo, I'm here. Like, let me show you what I'm about." In my opinion, that
and
that tells me everything I need to know about him being, in my opinion, the best pitching prospect for the New York Yankees.
and he shut down potentially the best lineup in minor leagues, Double A Erie, with Kevin McGonigal, who's now a top three prospect, Jose Briseño, who's a top 20, 25, 30 prospect, and Max Clark, who's also a top 15
Mhm.
pro, I think he get 7 innings of like 1 run. I think he gave up the long ball to Clark, but besides that, he was dominant. What impresses me about him is just his, I was kind of talking about it with Hess, but his pitch ability is, he doesn't have the most elite strikeout stuff, but he can get you a fair share of strikeouts. His control has been inconsistent at points, but it's taken a big step from where it was last year with Boston, where he really struggled with throwing strikes. He offers 5 6 different pitches, so it's kind of that thing where, yeah, it can be tough if finding searching for what you do have and don't have, but also it gives you a lot of options to get guys out in different ways. He produces a lot of soft contact. He's only given up 2 home runs on the season and over 100 innings. Yeah, I mean, when we came into the season, I had him, probably, I was talking about we're ranking those guys. I probably had him, fifth amongst, Schultler, Hess, Cunningham, LeGrand, and him and ERC. But now, he's my third ranked prospect in all the system, and he's my number one non-debuted pitching prospect. Not that Cam Schultler is going to be a prospect for very long, but no, it's very encouraging just what the Yankees have done with him, and he'll definitely be. We talk about needing depth in arms, as the season goes on. And we're already going to be down Clark Schmidt and Garrett Cole to start next season. Who knows what will happen, before this 26 season kicks off. ERC will be someone who will be in play for this team next year. He will make his debut next year for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if he makes his debut by June.
Yeah, but
Okay.
in my opinion, man, I think Yankee Source put it on Twitter and like showed the mechanics. He just looks like a better stuff Will Warren. And you're saying the strikeout stuff is whatever, but I mean, Will Warren wasn't like blowing the top off, striking out people in AAA either when he was showing up to almost a earned run average. He looks very good in the majors. Yes, he's a rookie, so yeah, it's going to take some time to adjust, and he's looked a lot better. Carlo's been riding that train for a couple of years, man. But at the end of the day, like in my opinion, ERC he has better command, and he's just a pitcher that, in my opinion, is going to come up and dominate. He's got everything.
You and I have talked about him a
Yeah,
lot, and I think the biggest thing from me is I think he's the most polished of them of the five.
yeah. For I mean, I would have said Cunningham before he went down, just because I found Cunningham to be a more consistent strike thrower. And I thought he probably had the best true pitch with that changeup. I know he could dial up to 99, but obviously, as the season's gone on, I would agree with you. ERC has shown that he's the most polished.
Yeah, and I'm a big Cunningham fan. As
Hmm.
Nick will tell you,
Yeah,
I've always
I
vouched for
think
him.
that's just what's so
But yeah,
lovely is it's nice arguing about these guys, knowing that we're not arguing about like, because they've been bad different. It's because they've all been so good that it's like
yeah,
when you're saying, "Oh yeah, I like this guy. I just think he's been a little bit better." It's like it's not in any negative connotation. It's more of just, honestly personal preference, but it's fine when they're all so great.
absolutely. Um, Moving on to Scranton, they didn't have the best of the week. Your review has hit 304 with a 796 OPS, an extra base hit, 5 walks, 2 stolen bases. TJ Brumfield, who just continues to hit down there. He's hit 280, 400 on base percentage, 840 OPS, 2 extra base hits, a home run, 5 RBIs. I think he's knocking on the door for 20 home runs, if I'm not mistaken. TJ Brumfield having a really good season, hitting over 300 as well. And just on the pitching side of thing, the only pitching prospect that I mentioned there was, or will mention there is Harrison Cohen, who continues to pitch well. He had an inning and a third of shutout baseball, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. And right off the bat, what you'll notice is uh, no mention of Spencer Jones. He's just in a bad slump right now.
He's it seemed like he's
Since
been
he's
breaking
returned
out
from
of
the
it.
injury. Since he's returned from the injury.
Yeah, but it seems like over the last few games, he was breaking out of it. I mean, the most encouraging thing I can say is even though the strikeout rate was a little bit up during this slump, it wasn't anything ridiculous. So I think that's just a good sign that he's still, I think his zone contact rate in AAA is 75%, which is very good for him.
I was gonna say, I think it
That's
was up at AAA.
yeah. So his zone contact rate, yeah, Spencer. I don't know I don't have the numbers of what happened to it during this slump. But on this season, if I just I'm let me see real quickly. Yeah, his zone contact in AAA is 75.3%, which is, it's you would like a little better, but also like that's for what he can do when he's right, that's more
Hmm.
than enough for him to be, a, a,
It's enough for him
a,
to still be
a,
scary.
yeah, exactly there. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. I would say the only thing is maybe I would like to see him be a little bit more selective, but this 2, 3 week slump is nothing to worry about considering the 2, 3 month heater he was just on.
Hmm.
So, if this goes on for another, few weeks to close the season, then we can talk more detail about it, but we'll see. I think he was starting to break out of it.
Yeah. Nick, anything on Spencer
Yeah, I mean,
or
kind of agree with
Rumfield?
Aaron there.
Hmm?
Or Rumfield. See, Rumfield to me, man, I would have loved to see him get a shot because the guy, like you talk about, just hits and knows how to hit. He's like the perfect example of that, and he was a Gold Glover down there.
Hmm.
Um, it would be nice to have seen him get an opportunity, and I feel like he would be a guy that I would like to see maybe next year get an opportunity, but I don't really know if the Yankees see it that way, especially
Yeah, so
with talk of Aaron Jones moving to first. I mean, Aaron Judge moving to first base.
oh god.
We'll see if he
I'm
was
surprised. I'm surprised that
if
Rumfield was still here past the deadline. I thought they would have made a move.
If Rumfield was a righty, it would just be so obvious his role. But I mean, even still, there's like that window could be there. Especially with not that I don't believe in Wells, but Rice has just been so outstanding and also been able to do a job at catcher that I think his future could be more of behind the plate. Not that it's even though I still think isn't a bad thing to have that option at first. Obviously, if they retain Bellinger, he can play some first, but he's better with the outfield, more valuable in the outfield. And yeah, the question to Judge, where it's, it seems like today got kind of stupid with those debates, but if that UCL is healthy, which apparently it is, maybe that qualms the first base shouts, but it is, I still think, something to discuss, not just because of the arm, but also just because of he's a big guy who's getting into his upper 30s, and maybe not having to be roaming the outfield will keep him healthier. So, right, it's kind of this weird thing where like there's that hole there at first base, but everything's kind of you could see different ways where it might get filled that blocks Rumfield's path. But right now, I mean, we don't have a first baseman next year. We don't have a true first baseman next year, so it could be Rumfield. And I like him a lot, and I would love to see him get that shot.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I thought it was going to be him when they first called up Bryce because, like I said,
Mhm.
they say they prefer the defense, and TJ was hitting at the time, so I was a bit surprised. Moving on, past the trade deadline, what's the state of the farm system? For me, it's more, I think it's just a wait and see right now, right? We're waiting for the dust to settle. But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention that I told people back in, I think it was March when the first rankings dropped and the farm system numbers were really low. Like, I think Baseball America had them in the low 20s, had the Yankees in the low 20s, Pipeline the same thing. And I said the same thing, like, the farm system is not as bad as this ranking is being dictated to Yankee fans. The farm system is just not this bad. There was a lot of injuries to the farm system, especially to the top five guys. I think of the top five guys, only Roderick Arias was the only one who didn't spend any time on the IL. And you had a couple graduations, a couple down seasons, yes, but it wasn't as bad as in the 20s. I thought it would have been in the teens at least.
I mean, I'll just say off the bat, I really don't look at MLB.com. They're good for just getting pure information,
Hmm.
but when it comes to truly ranking and discussing these prospects, I don't find them to be just. I just defer to Baseball America. I think that, you get a lot more dedicated writers who provide a lot more insight that you just don't get anywhere else from
Yeah,
any
of
major
course.
publication.
Yeah, I think they're
So.
the alpha dog in,
Yeah.
in, in that yard, and
Yeah,
and I also like Kylie McDaniel from
yeah,
ESPN.
yeah. But it's tougher when it's Kylie. It's really just him and I think a couple others. But Baseball America is the bigger team. But
Right.
even they ranked us 17th. Um, so I just also want to add the context. Like they talked about. I was watching one of their podcasts and they talk about it that when they do these rankings, it's they weight it. You get a lot more points if like you're a 1 to 5 prospect, and it's 5 to 10, and 10 to 20, and so teams have a lot of guys in those top 50. That's a lot more valuable than having a bunch of guys in the 51 to 150 range if you have a couple guys in that top 25. So the Yankees are a team where it's right now it's just according to them it's Lombard at 25, I want to say, and then it's Schlittler and Jones in the back of the top 100, and then I think
LeGrand.
LeGrand is someone who's right on the cusp. I think ERC is also someone they've mentioned that's like kind of on the cusp in that conversation. Um, but it's important to note that like it gets a little hurt because as good as that top 10 is, I think we have a very good top 10. It's just hurt by the fact that it doesn't have um, a top 10 guy in the system. Lombard just hasn't been able to make that jump since going to Double A. And then we did lose a lot of depth in the deadline. So it's still, I definitely think, probably that 15, or that 14 to 17 range is pretty fair for what we gave up. But I think that's also a really good indication after trading 15 players.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, there was a lot of movement in the farm system, right? You had Oswald Peraza was traded to the Angels for Wilbinson De Peña. That's the DSL kid and IFA money. You had Rock Riggio and Ben Shields sent to Colorado for Jake Bird. I don't understand that trade. I know you're gonna tell me it's early though, but I hate that trade
I'm,
because
I'm not going to
it's
say
Rafael.
anything. Don't worry.
No, you already said it to me.
Yeah.
Then you had Rafael Flores, who was the eighth ranked prospect according to Pipeline. Eglin Perez, 13, and Brian Sanchez to the Pirates for David Bednar. Griffin Herring, number 14. Josh Rose, number 21, to Colorado for Ryan McMahon. Gage Zeal, number 18, to the White Sox for Austin Slater. Clayton Beater, number 20. Brom Martinez, who was having a great season down at DSL, hitting over 400. To the Nats for Ahmed Rosario. Everson Pereira to the Rays for Jose Caballero. I'm happy to see Everson's going to get his shot. Jesus Rodriguez, number 25. Carlos De La Rosa, number 29. Parks Harbor and Tristan Vreeland, the number 19th prospect to the Giants for Camilo Doval. Of these
I mean,
deals,
that's a lot of guys.
yeah, that's a lot of
Well,
movement, especially in your top
yeah,
30.
but let's talk about it truthfully. Like the Yankees kept their top 11 guys they didn't want to trade. Like it
Yeah.
tells you everything you
Yeah.
want to know. And
The
I even
depth of
said
the system. It tells you the depth of the system.
yeah, but I even want to say it like Carlos, like we talked about. I said there was eight guys 100% you don't want to trade. And then
Yeah.
there's the three guys that are injured, Thatcher Hurd, Lalane and Hampton that I don't think the Yankees want to trade right now because they don't really know what they are yet. And
Hmm.
they kept their top 11 guys, man. They moved everybody else. And they got guys that they felt like are gonna participate in helping this team go to the World Series. Now, whether we agree or we disagree on that is another thing. But to keep the top 11 guys that you have there, and then other guys like Angel Benitez that'll come back next year, telling us that he's throwing 103. You know, um,
Oh,
we got a couple of guys that are going to come back, Jershawn Alejandro, Xavier Marte. I mean, the system is not barren, man. It's going to come
Chase
back and look
Hampton.
really good. Chase Hampton, like, yeah, Chase Hampton,
That's the
Thatcher
big
Hurd,
one.
Wyatt Parliament. I mean, these guys
Hmm.
are, arms that the Yankees
Brian
obviously
Henry.
value too. Yup, Henry. I mean, he's a little
But no,
older.
I said I gave Brian Cashman his props. I thought he did a phenomenal job at the deadline. You can argue of the results of some of the guys like Jake Bird being sent to AAA, but I thought Cashman did a very good job.
Yeah, the bird and Slater one, I don't really understand it. But everybody else, like, you can argue that like that it was solid value for what you got. I mean, Doval is, hopefully he figures it out
Can somebody
and
tell him to
they
throw more
figure something.
fastballs? Can he throw more fastballs, please?
But
Mm-mm.
I mean, you got him and you got you know, Bednar's look great.
Mm-hmm.
I can't not Bednar's been unreal for them. Thank God they got him.
Hmm.
And that's that. And I never felt like they needed a starting pitcher. So everybody was pitching them on a starting pitcher, starting pitcher, starting pitcher. That was stupid
Yeah,
because you
I
have
don't know
so
where they were
many
gonna put
arms
him.
now. Exactly. And then you're just blocking people when they come back. So it just doesn't make sense to get a starting pitcher. Luis Hill was coming back and now he's here.
The
So
only the
give him
only
a
thing I'll
chance.
say, the only thing I would say
Every-
is if you could have gotten a real, uh,
If you would have gotten
I
Paul
don't,
Skeens, we
He
could have
wanted
had
a
a
I
starting
don't,
conversation.
pitcher.
Yeah,
But
I don't feel great, especially the way Max Fried has been pitching. I don't feel great about our rotation going into the playoffs. That if you could have gotten a real difference maker type guy, but obviously that wasn't there in the market.
Yeah, I was
I
gonna say,
So
mean,
that
I don't think that was available. I mean, even if you,
that's what I'm saying. Like that wasn't available. No,
yeah,
like that's but I think the need for a two type starter was there, but like yeah, I get that it wasn't
the
available
needs
in the
were
small
third
deal, which is
base and the
fine.
bullpen
Yeah.
and another outfielder, and he did all of that. I know people wanted Sandy, but I can't imagine what the
Yeah.
ask would have been for
I
him.
mean, apparently it was Spencer Jones, so and you know,
I
Sandy has
and I've
not
been
pitched well
mentioning
this
that
year.
I've been mentioning that regarding Spencer Jones. I mean, I don't envy Cashman for having to make that decision, right? It could either be a huge reward or a huge risk.
Hmm.
But yeah, you just have to let it play out.
It's too to me, he just turned into too big of a talent to like n not be the ones to reap the rewards of.
Yeah.
Like it's we're in a position where I think we have strong enough stuff that like it's we can take that gamble. It's we're not we're not missing out on our window completely if we don't trade for Sandy. So no, but yeah, I think just kind of turning this back to the the state of the farm. Um, it's it's tricky. I think we saw this play out from 21 through 24. It's tricky when you trade a bunch of guys out of your depth and then the top guys you graduate, like graduated Austin Wells or graduated Anthony Volpe. There's, I guess Clark Schmidt was top prospect that didn't really graduate till like 21 or 22. Jason Dominguez. So it's a little tricky when you lose those top guys to, promotions, or, I guess a couple were traded like Drew Thorpe and Ken Waldichuk off in Augustine. But
I think he froze on us.
Oh no.
Yo, I wanted to ask Aaron a serious question too, man, before he just
Hold on.
froze.
Let's see if he comes back. Hold on.
I don't think so, man. It's not looking good.
Hold on. Let me message him.
Yo, Carlos, listen, man. Since we're keeping this bad boy going for a second, can we start giving flack to Matt Blake, man? Like, honest to God, what has he really done, dude? Like,
I'll let you be
who?
the bad guy there.
Nah. But what has he done, man? Like, everybody gives
What
this
has he
guy credit.
done?
Oh,
He turned
yep.
around Clay Holmes.
Yeah, but no, he didn't. I think Clay Holmes was better as a starter for the Mets. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then they put him in the bullpen because he was got an innings limit, and then it's all been trash for him ever since. But like,
He's been trash? I haven't even
I think
noticed.
he hasn't been. I think he hasn't been good in the bullpen. But listen, man, we can say whatever we want. At the end of the day,
No, there
Aaron will
he is.
tell you too. That's where he just
Go
came back.
ahead.
Yeah, he started crying a little
Let
bit.
him finish his point, and then you can get into that.
All right.
I'm just my whole point was that when you trade a lot of your depth and you graduate your top guys, you got that the reset button has to get
Hmm.
hit. And I think we saw that in 2024. And we were a farm system, going to the season that was probably one of the worst in baseball. I would say in that 25, 22, 27 range. Just what they did this year, building this back up to even be at 17th after trading 15 guys is a very, I would say, healthy for how the Yankees like to exist, trading all these guys and keeping the top guys. That's a very healthy area we're in.
Hmm.
Um, Now the key is to keep it up.
Hmm.
2025 draft class, we'll see how they do. This DSL class has been very promising. A lot of names that we
Yes.
could, talk about. So that'll be the key is how this goes in 26 and 27, especially as Legrand and Schlittler and, I mean, Lombard's a few years away, but Lombard and how when those guys leave, who's going to take over the top. But, it's 17th. That's not a bad place to be given the circumstances going into
Hmm.
the year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said before, you have to whenever you get that number, you have to look at it. You have to step back and start looking, well, what's there? What's there?
Mhm.
And I think that's where we're at right now. I mean, uh, some of this draft classes look promising so far. Like the Grudzielanek kid with Tampa, he's
Mhm.
looked really good so far. You've had Kilby, who looks very promising. Even some of the kids in Hudson Valley have looked good. Core Jackson, Caden Kent as well. Um, you have a lot, like you were mentioning before, some of the DSL kids will be stateside next year. Guys, hopefully like Juan Torres, Richard
Mhm.
Matique, who missed a few games. He was injured and they kept him out of the lineup for precaution.
Valorio should be over.
Laura should be over. I
Monte.
mean, the top IFA, he definitely should be coming over. Even Manny Cedeno finished better than he started for most of the season.
Hmm.
Um, Justin Capellan is another guy. Kenny Pineda, Alexander Almonte. There's a lot of guys in the
Yeah.
DSL who should be coming stateside this season. So hopefully the FCL team will be a lot better this year or
Hmm.
next year. Sorry.
No, I think those guys will be very important for the state of the farm because I mean, obviously Dax Kilby, if he keeps playing well, he'll become a top 10 prospect. Um, but kind of thinking about it when this current crop of guys, like we were talking about when they graduate, who's going to take over that top 10, I can see it being a lot of DSL guys right now, like Cedeno. Valorio has that talent. I'm high on Kenny
Kenny.
Perneda.
Kenny.
Yeah, I've never actually had to say it, but Steven Marinas is a very highly rated,
Keep in mind,
international
Juan
signing.
season should be locked in this in the off season.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he'll definitely be top, at least 15 right
Mhm.
away. So yeah, I think if you want to, talk about, okay, well, we traded all these guys, how do we keep that farm system replenished? Is if those guys in the DSL and this really strong DSL class hit when they come stateside, that's something that keeps you strong and gives you that potential to have a top 15, top 10 farm system if some of those guys can be, top 100 prospects or even higher. So yeah, it's been a very encouraging year as a farm follower, and you know, like I said, being 17th by Baseball America, I considering where we were, I like that ranking a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot
Even if
better.
I would like to be a few spots higher, but
Yeah.
what can you do?
Nick,
Let's talk about, man, Matt Blake.
Oh
Can
boy.
we start really trashing this guy now, Aaron, man? Can we
Nope.
finally start doing it?
Nope.
Why can't we do it, man? Because
Because I
everybody this guy touches turns to trash. It doesn't matter. He's absolute dog. He's dog doo-doo. He's garbage. Yo, every free agent pitcher he gets turns into garbage. I'm tired of it, man.
I don't know what to say to that. I can't blame
It's been
him
two
for
months and you can't fix Max Fried, who is a top
I
five
mean
pitcher in baseball.
I wouldn't say I don't think you can blame him for Max Fried losing his ability to pitch control.
doesn't
I
doesn't
Like the
got I
stuff
gotta
is
isn't
blame
still
that
him.
a
there.
isn't that a blister that Freed was dealing with or something?
They say it hasn't been an issue for him, and I tend to
Yeah.
believe them. I don't subject to that. I
You
don't
said you
disagree
tend to
that
believe? Did you
every
say you tend to believe them?
I I
Is that what you said?
I would
I'm asking.
say I would say
I'm
that I
only and
don't.
I'm only asking because that's what I heard, and then immediately I'm playing back how Boone
No,
said
that's
Boone
very
said
fair.
Boone said we won't see Judge again on the field today this year, something like that. And then what is it, like an hour or so? Aaron Judge goes, I don't know what he's talking about or why he's saying that.
Uh, No, that's fair, but also like even if it is a thing, if it was an actual issue, I feel like they would have put him on the injured list if it was a real problem. Listen, I get that not every pitching acquisition works out, but I think the track record is a lot better for Matt Blake, and I think you can't blame every single thing that goes wrong on Matt Blake. Just like honestly, we shouldn't blame everything that goes right on Matt Blake. I think there's a lot worse pitching coaches in the league. I watched the Washington Nationals and the travesty of their major league pitching. Um,
But Mackenzie
so
Gore's gotten better.
he has gotten better.
Right.
You're
So who
right.
the hell has Matt Blake made better? That's what I really want to know. Because I'm gonna tell you right now.
I
Because Garrett Cole was way better when he pitched on the Houston Astros. Max Fried has been way better when he
I
pitched on the
think
Atlanta Braves.
that's Max.
Carlos
You're
Rodon has
saying
pitched way better when he was at San Francisco. So I'm trying to wait, man. Hold on a second. Let me really focus in on this conversation for a minute.
all right. So I mean, you want to go? I don't want to like waste all the time on
No,
minor
no,
league
you're not
shows
wasting any
talking about
time.
the
We're having a
Yankees,
conversation.
but all
This is a
right.
Yankee conversation.
Let's go. I mean, we can go pitcher by pitcher. I think Max Fried was showing some improved stuff numbers with
And
that
now he's
cutter at
throwing
the
to a
beginning of the
7
season.
ERA the last two
Listen,
months.
but the stuff isn't the issue. It's his control is just lost his control, which is
So that's not a pitching coach can't help with control
I mean, I'm sure you can, but over a long season, some things happen. I'm not gonna
for
blame
two
Matt
months.
Blake for a guy. I'm not gonna blame Matt Blake for a guy not being able to throw a strike consistently.
Wow.
That's Carlos Rodon, there you can talk about different things there. I would say yeah, he was a better pitcher in San Francisco in the last year in Chicago. What I also will say is he was a two-pitch pitcher in San Francisco and Chicago, and his stuff got worse clearly when he was dealing with that back injury in 23. And I think they've helped revive him by adding that changeup, adding that cutter he has, and made him salvageable. I think that was pretty decently impressive work. I think Will Warren has gotten better throughout this season, and I think that's something where I mean, that also goes to Sam Breen as well, going throughout the
But yeah, but
system.
I'm
But I
not gonna
think
count.
he's
I'm
been
not gonna
better.
count a kid that was a kid through our system that came up through our system and
So
then
just
did whatever.
because so that's like saying that's like, I think that's not fair. It's Matt Blake is the one working with him now, and he is someone who's gotten better as the season's gone
But
on and become a better pitcher.
you totally disregarded what I just said. I said what free
What?
agent or traded pitcher has Matt
I'm
Blake
sorry.
got?
I'm trying to think through there's a lot of pitchers come
Right,
through.
but
I
you're
think
naming a
Clay
guy
Holmes,
who's in our
I
system.
think
Clay
Clay
Holmes
Holmes
has
was
been
someone
better
who
with the
was
Mets.
I disagree with that dude. He has not been that good as a starter. He had a good first month, but his numbers are not good.
So then you're telling me what he's done with Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. They had a good first month, and now we're
I
talking
think they
about
made, I
trash.
think they make, I think Carlos Rodon wasn't great for July, but he has not been bad. He like I like
There's been stretches for Rodon, and I've been a critic. I've been
he's
a
had some
critic of
not
his.
great.
My
He's had
thing,
no,
no,
yeah, he's had some
I
not
my thing
great
with
mean,
Rodon is
outings, but he hasn't been bad.
a broken clock is right twice a day, man.
my thing with Rodon is the stretches, right? It's kind of like Volpe a little bit, right? When he's locked in, he's locked in, but then he
No,
goes through these stretches where you're just like, I don't know what I'm gonna get out of him today.
no, that's fair, but also like that was kind of something that he'd had his old career, whole career. This isn't something new that just like started with the Yankees. He had I mean, it was just that Giants year where that it was just he was for the most part lights out. But he had a great start last time out. Let's see what he does later today. I still think what they've done, considering he had lost fastball velocity after that bad back injury and how they've salvaged him. I think that's a clear win on Matt Blake, even if he isn't the pitcher that they signed. I'm not sure. I don't think you can blame. That's just something that happens with age. Pitchers lose velocity. That dealing with a bad injury like that. I mean, Clay Holmes, they clearly made a better pitcher. He was nothing in Pittsburgh. We
All
traded for
right, so
Jim Clark.
you want to take Clay Holmes and Luke Weaver, that's fine. But how about Camilo Doval? How about
I think you're
let's talk
talking
about
about
Jake
five
Bird and
appearances for
Scott
Duvall. We're
Efros.
talking about two appearances for Jake Bird. Listen, like I still think he's a great pitching coach, but I don't think he's a
They
miracle
gave
worker.
him
And you can't.
Frankie Montas. They gave him Frankie
Well,
Montas, and the
no,
Yeah,
guy
to be
did
Frankie
fair,
nothing.
Montas
wait,
had
hold
a
on, hold on,
bum
hold on.
He
shoulder.
did
To be fair,
nothing.
wait, to be fair,
He had a
when
bum
the Yankees traded for
shoulder.
Montas, Montas was shot. He was hurt. I don't
What
know
you
what
talking
the
about?
hell.
Matt Blake was supposed to be the fixer, man.
Yeah,
Everybody
but he's
said
not a
You
that.
can't
yeah, but
fix an
he's not a doctor.
injury.
He's not a doctor though.
Yeah, but listen. All right, how about Severino, bro? They took Sevy. Sevy was throwing a 7 ERA. Went to the Mets, threw under a 4 the year previous. What are we talking about, bro? Matt
Yeah, no,
Blake
that
is
was
duty.
sure. That was
That's it. He's
I don't,
trash.
give me 1 second. I need to
Yeah,
actually
go
like
pull it
see
up,
every
man.
pitch.
I know. Don't get upset when you see
If
Severino's
you're gonna
numbers this
if you
last year before he
no
went to the
oh
Mets.
no I know Severino's been better.
I know your
I
heart's
know
gonna
he's
hurt.
gone heavy sinker. I know he's gone heavy sinker and that has really helped him. He's not a great pitcher, but he's better than he was his last year. I also just think that dude couldn't stay healthy when he was on the Yankees.
Yeah, I think that was his
Um,
biggest issue was right there.
I mean, all right, let's I mean Clark Schmidt I think is someone who clearly was
Oh,
really impressive as a
you're
starter.
not counting what I was saying.
Oh yeah, guys we acquired. Sorry. I
Yes,
mean Fernando
there we go.
Cruz was definitely showing a lot better as a than he was with Cincinnati. He was, one of the top strikeout arms in all the league, if I remember correctly.
He was last year too. He just threw to a high ERA.
I mean, I think he's been great. I think that, I mean, I'm not going to count the guys that we just acquired.
I mean,
I mean,
listen,
Ryan
Scott
Yarbrough was a
Efros,
guy
Oh my
who,
God.
the Blue Jays didn't want to give a chance. And when we needed him, he pitched to a 3.9
he pitched for a
ERA
good
with an
month.
85 mile per hour
Yeah.
fastball, .9 B WAR before an injury. I mean, it's hard to say with like the
Well, Ryan
rotation just
Yarbrough
because
has always done that. Let's not act like he just never
he's
done
had
that
some
before.
bad. I mean, he's had good years, but he's had bad years.
I mean,
Okay,
he
so
was a
he's hit or
DFA
miss.
project.
Yeah. It's not like he made him better.
I mean, I think they.
I mean, I don't remember
This is
Aaron
this is
coming on
what
this
this is
show
my
saying
issue
this
now.
guy's an all-star now.
You were saying like, oh, that's like one
Who
good
was he
team. Like
made
you're
better?
picking on you're discounting things when a guy doesn't do well that he gets no credit for, and you're saying I don't give the blame when things go bad. So you're kind of doing the same thing that you're accusing me of doing, just in the opposite
What?
direction.
I just gave you two pictures. I said you could have
I think, all
you want
right,
to
Tim
take
Hill's
Clay
another
Holmes.
guy. Tim Hill was literally DFA'd by the
Okay.
worst team in the league,
It's true.
and he's
Tim Hill
become a
was
pretty
Yeah.
valuable piece.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll give you Tim
Obviously,
Hill.
you know, I mean, hell, I'll
How,
even
but
stretch that.
how
I
come you're
know
not talking to me about Jake Bird, who got damn near
because
sacrificed
he literally
after you
acquired
traded two
him,
top 10
pitched
prospects for
twice.
him, pretty much?
Because two top 10 prospects. Okay, calm down. I
Right,
like Ben
right.
Shields, but I like Ben Shields, but
Yo,
um, listen, Jake Bird pitched 2 innings,
and
and
was
then
giving
they
up
sent him
batting
down,
practice.
and
You
they
could have
sent
hit a
him.
home run off of him.
I don't like. Let's see what he does after an off
He's
season. I'm
Scott
not.
Efros. He's
Are
Scott
you?
Efros. He's the same thing, dude.
Scott Efros was a torn UCL, and he just not able to bounce back from it well.
So he's poop because you traded Hayden
I
Wesneski
mean, all
for him.
right, another. I mean, see, this is the thing. Like, first of all, you're talking about guys who we acquired literally not even a month ago, and saying, "Oh, you should automatically make them." I think that's kind of silly. You're talking about acquiring, like, let's say, like, I'm in accounting.
You just
I'm in
told me Clay
accounting.
Holmes became a god.
If I'm in busy season
Hmm.
and we're doing preparing the financial statements and we're in the heat of getting all the tax forms and whatever information from the client and you give me someone new and I'm like, oh crap, I got to make this person know everything there is to know about this company and their financial statements in a 2 month period. I'm not going to be able to transform what they are as a person in just 1 2 days like they have with Jake Bird. No, like obviously
So
it was a
basically,
rough start, but you're
time
saying
out. No. Time out. So to your point of
acquiring
view,
someone in the
you're
heat of
you're saying if this person is good at their job and we acquire them, we bring them in, you're telling me you're so trash at training them that they wouldn't get any better, they would just regress? That's what you
no,
just told me. So I'm gonna have to
I'm just
demote this
saying
guy
that
from an accountant down to a payroll person.
that's
Come on, man.
absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm
That's
saying
pretty
that
much what I'm
it's not
thinking.
fair. Well, you're not obviously because you're not letting me speak.
I heard you speak. I
The
sat here
issue
quiet.
is you can't just give someone 2 weeks and just like it's sometimes it takes a little longer to learn things. You can't. I mean,
The
obviously
Yankees
sometimes it works
fired
out.
him
Clay
in
Holmes,
two games. Two
they
games.
he has 3 years left on his contract. My point is
Yeah.
like it
And
obviously
that and
was
I
a rough
guarantee
two
you they have
innings.
buyer's remorse already. Buyer's remorse
Maybe
off of
they
this
might.
nonsense.
They might. They very well might. But I just think it's silly to say, "Oh, he had pitched 2 innings. It was awful. Matt Blake couldn't do anything with him." Sometimes you can't just get a guy in there and say, "Oh yeah, you do this, do this, do this," and boom, you're fixed. Like that's not how coaching works. I sometimes
Is
you do
Harrison
actually
Cohen
need
better than him?
time.
Is Harrison Cohen better than him?
I mean, at the moment, maybe.
No, there's no maybe. He's better than him. Harrison Cohen is better than him. And you went out and traded
I
two
think Jake
guys
Bird's
that
pure stuff is better. But at the sure, Harrison Cohn's better right now.
I mean
Well,
I could say
I think we've had the discussion. I think what happened with Jake Bird is that Jake Bird was probably, this is just me making an assumption here,
Yeah.
was probably the first deal that Cashman
If you want
made.
to talk about Matt Blake, if you want to talk about Matt Blake having issue, I think Jake Bird is definitely not the place to start with this because we're talking about a guy who barely came over and got sent down to where he's away from Matt Blake. I think that's just not even part of the conversation. But Listen, if you want to think Matt Blake is doo-doo, sure, I can't. Obviously, we're not, this
Did
conversation
Matt
is going
Blake touch
nowhere,
Sonny
but
Gray? Did Matt Blake touch Sonny Gray?
no.
Are you positive?
Yes, he wasn't here.
All right, I just want to make sure, man, because like I said, if he
Yeah,
touched Sonny Gray, we're done talking the rest of
Matt
the
Blake
week.
joined in 2020. Matt Blake joined in 2020. Sonny Gray was already out of here by that point. And I'll just say this, not that I'm not tying this exactly what's going to happen with Bird, but Yuri De Los Santos we got last year was crap in the appearances we had, and he's come back, especially ever since he came back a
Yeah, but
couple
what
weeks
about Dennis
ago.
Santana? That guy was
Listen,
ass here,
not
and
every
then went over there and
reliever,
became
you're
a guy.
not gonna.
I saw Bobby wanting to trade basically five of our pitching prospects for Dennis Santana at the
Oh my
deadline.
God.
Listen, I think that there are a lot worse pitching coaches you could have. And listen, it just seems like you're going to point to every negative instance and use that as the reason why he isn't quality. Whereas I see it as he's had some pretty big successes. He's had some misses. That's just the life. You can't, you can try and coach people as much as you want, but sometimes you just can't. You're not the one to connect with them. I would still take him over, you know,
Was it
I
over
would
who?
take him over
Larry
most pitching
Rothschild?
coaches in the
I mean,
league.
come on, both those guys were doo doo. I would take the dude on the Rangers over him.
Sure. Like I said, I'm sure there's a couple guys for sure, but like I overall I would much rather have Matt Blake. You can't just have every single guy, so I'm pretty happy with Matt Blake's. I mean, you Mets fans are, raving over Hefner or whatever his name is, and they're saying they have a lot of issues too in their pitching, and that hasn't worked out. Or Andrew Bailey, Red Sox fans love Andrew Bailey, and like I mean, they've had their rotation had Brown Bello hasn't really progressed. Cutter Crawford's disappeared. Bueller hasn't been good, but they've also had some successes. So my point is that you're just pointing at it's not right to just point at a few mistakes and claim that's why he's not good when there's a lot of, I think I gave a lot of
Oh
examples
nah,
of guys he's improved.
Aaron Judge just hit a moonshot.
Oh, the game started. Crap. Let me turn that on.
Yeah, he just hit one dead center.
Love that. Oh, Cody Bellinger just went deep. Love
Back
that.
to back.
2-0 Yankees. Yeah, I guess so.
Jeez.
Um, listen, yeah, we're obviously not changing each other's minds on this, and I'm okay with that. I'll happily be on my side of
Yeah,
things.
let's
All
for
else,
you guys to agree to disagree.
yeah, all like I s- all I'll say is that, every coach has hits or misses, even the best in whatever sport. It's not like every player that Nick Saban coached, succeeded at Alabama. Jalen Hurts had to go to Oklahoma to really break out. Um, I'm a lot happier with Matt Blake than others, but sure, like they need to figure out Max Fried sooner rather than later.
Let's leave it on that note, guys. For the next episode, we're probably gonna be doing a review of the rookie leagues. That's the FCL and the DSL, and what's coming next in the in the next IFA class. So tune in for that. And you guys, if you can, on the way out, make sure you hit the like button. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that. Nick, Aaron, thanks a lot. It was great talking to you guys tonight. Have a good night, guys.
Yep, have a good one.